Good morning.
Good morning.
You know, my watch says it's 5 degrees now, and I believe you get extra points when you come to church when it's 5 degrees or less. So, yeah, just feel free to use those points if you need any new toasters or anything like that. Our theme for the year is spirituality in action. And our theme for the month and today's topic is integrity. Integrity. Now, when I started looking online for information about integrity, first what started to come up was structural integrity, buildings. And so I found lots of pictures of buildings, and here are some of them. Wow, that's weird. That's not one of them, right?
Like grit.
Apparently, this is not. Okay, Linda's doing it. You doing it, Linda? Okay, great. Great, you're going to be busy, huh? So here's a building. Doesn't seem to have much integrity. Next one, please. Oh, a couple more. Collapse by structural failure. And there's yet another one. Whoops. Yep. Go to the oops, for sure. Now, I don't know what happened with these buildings, but I tend to wonder about their foundations. I tend to wonder about the materials and workmanship. And I tend to wonder about what kind of planning went into building these that one especially. I mean, wow. Yeah. Now, maybe the engineer wasn't very experienced, and because these are falling down buildings, right?
I got that feeling, yes.
Yeah. Maybe the engineer wasn't very experienced and didn't know really what it takes to support a building or what it takes to support a building in that particular kind of soil. Maybe the materials and workmanship weren't of high enough quality. You know, sometimes they cut corners, and when they cut corners on bottom corners, it can be a bad thing. Right? Maybe the foundation wasn't deep enough or wasn't appropriate for the soil conditions. But somehow, things did not go as planned for these buildings. I'm sure no one planned for them to be falling down like this. And yet I also found some amazingly beautiful buildings that seem to defy gravity, that obviously were built with structural integrity. I was amazed at the number of buildings that I found online that are just absolutely amazing. Obviously, a lot more care went into these buildings. Now, I can't even imagine, next one please, I can't even imagine what kind of planning it took, what kind of computations and looking at the soil and looking at the foundations. I can't imagine how deep the roots on those buildings, I guess they're foundations, the foundations, which are the roots. I cannot imagine how deep they go and what it took to design buildings that would work like this. So I think it's pretty amazing. But you know, when even seemingly impossible things are done with integrity, it's amazing what beauty can be created. Okay, Linda. One of the ways we put our spirituality into action is by living our lives in integrity. One of the ways we put our spirituality into action in the world is by living in integrity. Now, that means having good plans, which are good intentions. Intentions are so important. Having strong materials and precise workmanship, and it means having a deep foundation that can support the stresses that life brings. So there are a couple of definitions of integrity that seem to apply to how we live our lives. The state, number one is the state, nope, not yet. The state of being honest, being complete or whole. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to talk more about that in a few minutes. Or the quality of being honest, fair, and having strong moral principles. Strong roots. Our strong ethical principles might be like good blueprints. They might be like appropriate intentions so that we open to what it is we want in life. And for most of us, it's not those falling down kinds of building experiences. Our intentions and our beliefs either open us up to amazing possibilities or limit how high we can reach. And of course, knowing the kind of life we want to live is a great place to start. Knowing what we want our life to look like and feel like is just an amazing place to start. So being honest and fair might be likened to having quality materials and workmanship. We need good tools. And in the Science of Mind and Spirit, we have good tools. We teach good tools. We teach about affirmations and spiritual mind treatment, which is affirmative prayer. We teach about meditation and visioning and lots of ways to go deep inside and contact that divine essence that is within each of us, that light that we're reminded of by the candles up here. And good workmanship might be like having support from a spiritual community like ours. I feel so lucky to have you all, to be able to be part of this place where love lives, and actually to be able to support you and be supported by you, because that's what we do in spiritual community. We're here for each other. And then there's our foundation. Our foundation, that deep knowing that God is all there is, that we are one with it, that it lives, breathes, and has its being into and as each of us, that we are the directors of our lives by claiming what we will step into, by claiming what we are ready for, what we are going to act on. And so it's just absolutely amazing to have that deep spiritual foundation that comes from our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes. People with integrity are generally known as trustworthy and honest, generally known as compassionate and kind. Integrity is always doing the right thing, even when no one is watching, even when the choice isn't easy. It might be something like telling a cashier that she accidentally gave you $20 too much and giving it back when you could really use that $20. It might be ignoring someone's advice when they have told you, hey, this is a great way you can cheat on your taxes and nobody's ever going to catch you, you know? Yeah, right. Integrity is not using that information. It might be keeping confidential information confidential when it would make really juicy gossip. Or integrity could be staying true to yourself and your word, even when you're faced with serious consequences, even if you're going to get in trouble for telling the truth. That's happened to me for sure. When we live with integrity, our very actions speak for who we are and what we believe. Our actions show the world what we stand for. It's a courageous choice. Not always easy, but it's a courageous choice. And choosing integrity is something that we have to do over and over and over, day by day, week by week, month by month, year by year. That's how we create a life of integrity. So why bother? Why bother to live a life of integrity? After all, we see plenty of folks in business and in government who don't seem very committed to integrity. Have you noticed?
Yeah.
Yeah. There are telephone and internet scams that are just ubiquitous. They're always happening. One gets done and then more start. There are CEOs who might overstate their company's profits so that they don't get replaced by their board of directors. There are business people who underestimate their property's value in order to keep from paying their fair share of taxes. Heard about that just this week. The list could go on, and in each case, and I really think this is true, in each case, I think that the person who chooses to act out of integrity probably somehow convinced themselves that it was okay, that, well, I can do this. It's really not too bad. And yet, I have a feeling that deep inside, folks know when they're doing something that is out of integrity. They may train themselves not to pay attention to that. But we know, do we not? Now, I have a couple of cartoons here that express what is all too often true. As we all know, the appearance of honesty is the best policy. So we've got the appearance of honesty. Not honesty, but the appearance of honesty. Next one, please. And this is some business people sitting around a table, and they say, we've discussed honesty as a policy, but so far it hasn't gained any momentum.
Oh, dear.
And then there's this quote from Groucho Marx. The secret of life is honesty and fair dealing. If you can fake that, you've got it made. Yeah. So integrity. Here are some reasons why integrity is so important. Well, how about because it's the right thing to do? Yeah. And it feels better when we do the right thing. Is that not true? Yes. Do we not know in our gut what is right and what is drifting off of the scale of right? And I love this quote from Franklin Roosevelt. Knowing what's right doesn't mean much unless you do what's right. Knowing what's right doesn't mean much unless you do what's right. As we live in integrity, others know that they can trust us. They know that we'll do what we said we were going to do, that we'll show up when we said we were going to show up, that we'll be responsible in relationships, that we'll be responsible at work. They can trust us. Living a life of integrity, I think it makes life simpler. If you're out of integrity, you kind of need to make up some stories and then remember those stories. And what if you told two people different stories? But to live with honesty, and integrity has got to be pretty simple, because we can simply listen to our heart and do what's right. Now, it's not to say that there aren't sometimes conflicts within us. And we have some ways to work those out through prayer, through getting spiritual support, through many ways. But basically, we can live our lives doing what's right. In the Hebrew Bible, in the book of Proverbs, it says, people with integrity walk safely, but those who follow crooked paths will slip and fall. People with integrity walk safely, but those who follow crooked paths will slip and fall. Now, are we not seeing that playing out on the national level? Because a person's lack of integrity eventually catches up with them. Think Michael Cohen. Definitely, we can't make choices that are out of integrity and expect them never to be mirrored back to us in some ways. I like this quote by Alan Simpson. If you have integrity, nothing else matters. If you don't have integrity, nothing else matters. Yeah. So now let's consider spiritual integrity. The science of mind viewpoint is totally in alignment with the dictionary's definition of integrity as the state of being whole and complete. Since God is present in everything, in all of us, in all that ever was, all that ever is now, and all that ever will be, since it puts its own life into everything that is, we absolutely know that we are part of a wholeness, something that is complete, that it is not out there, far away from us. We are part of this divinity, absolutely. And we understand that we are imbued with volition. We get to choose. And we are free, absolutely free, to be out of integrity. Now, we get the consequences of that, but we are made as free beings, free expressions of the divine, this divine that wants to experience absolutely everything. Wants to experience the consequences, maybe not consciously, but the soul part of us that lives forever, that is lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, in whatever form, in whatever consciousness, forever and ever and ever. And so we can opt out of integrity and make choices that don't serve our best interests or the best interests of those people around us and in our world. Now, as I said earlier, one of the definitions of integrity is the state of being complete or whole. This is our foundation. We are complete. We are whole. We live in spiritual integrity when we remember our wholeness, when we remember our oneness with the divine, and when we remember our connection to each other, to all living beings, all life upon our planet and beyond. We live in spiritual integrity when we remember and know that we are complete and whole. Now, if we're complete and whole, that means we don't need to compete for affection or for attention or for anything else. If we're complete and whole, that means that we really have everything we need within us, and we don't need to look outside of ourselves to make us feel fulfilled, to make us realize that all we need is right here where I am. And if we are complete and whole, it frees us to live up to our incredible potential. It frees us to live up to the life of our dreams. If we're already complete and whole, we have no need to act from fear or desperation. Ernest Holmes said, "Now life exists. Nothing is more certain. Life is intelligent. It responds to us. It is within us and around us. Life, call it God, call it anything you want to. There's something present with us and in us, out of whose essence all things are made, within whose creative imagination all things are formed, and by whose inexorable and immutable laws all things are held in place. This is self-evident. We couldn't be here if these things were not true. The integrity of the universe cannot be questioned nor doubted, for we are here. The Spirit must be and is perfect. That which is back of everything must be good, must be complete, must be love and harmony. There's that perfection. And you are part of that perfection. In order for the integrity of the world, the integrity of the human race to be maintained, you have to be who you have come here to be. You have to come with your gifts, your talents, your quirks, your ways of looking at things, your ways of shining your light, which is so amazing. And in order to live truly in spiritual integrity, we all need to let our light shine brightly. When we do that, when we shine our light in our individual amazing ways, I mean, as I look around the room, I'm so familiar with you and how each of you shines your incredible light. The world would not be what it is. The universe would not be what it is without your variety of light that you have developed through challenges, that you have developed through experiences, that you have developed through wondrous loving, that you have developed in whatever ways. This is what we are here for. We live in integrity by having a strong foundation, anchored in our deep knowing that we are one. We are one with all the power, all the love, and all the creative potential there is. You are one with all the creative potential there is. Breathe that in. We live in integrity by having a clear blueprint, a clear intention to live lives from a place of strong ethics, from a place of sharing our good, sharing our love, bringing more good to the world. Our intentions are basically so important. That's our blueprints. I say, okay, God, this is what I'm going to open up to. I'm going to open up to this incredible community. I'll say yes to that. You betcha. Yeah. Uh-huh. And we live in integrity by taking advantage of the support of our spiritual community and by using the amazing tools of Science of Mind that we teach here on Sundays, we teach in classes, we teach as we do our monthly meditations, as we have other events. These are the tools that help us live in integrity. These are the tools that help us grow in integrity. So if you want an authentic life, a life of integrity, where you can transcend human drama, where you can transcend the suffering, not that we don't all experience suffering, but where you can reach above it, then I invite you to open your heart and absolutely embrace and embody your spiritual integrity. I invite you to know that you are complete and whole. So let's say our affirmation again. I remember and know that I am complete and whole. Once more, please. I remember and know that I am complete and whole. Breathe that in. And as practitioners, stand with me in high consciousness. Let's just move into prayer. So I stand here, part of this completeness, part of this wholeness, in the midst of other expressions of God's wholeness, in the midst of other expressions of God's creative wonder and awe. I stand right here in the midst of knowing that we are connected. We are connected with each other. We are connected with every being on this planet and beyond. And so I know that we have strong foundations. I know that our foundations go deep, deep, deep into the knowing that God is right here for us, that it's all we need that it will guide us and lead us, that we can trust it, that we can live in integrity, because Spirit is a spirit of integrity. We can draw as much of that as we choose to. And so I claim that as each one goes forward this week, our paths are filled with whatever is needed to remind us of our amazing choices, to remind us that we are powerful, to remind us that we are whole, to remind us that we are complete, to remind us that we are here as gifts. And so we move forth in joy, sharing with others our love, our skills, our caring, and all else that we are called to share. I'm so grateful for this community, so grateful for the love that is shared here. And I absolutely know that because I have spoken these words and felt them in my gut, I know that I have spoken the truth. And the law, that part of the divine that says yes, always yes, that part of the divine is manifesting what has been claimed right now and going forward for each one of us in our own unique way. And so I can just let this go. I can just let this prayer go, trusting that all is well, that all is so much better than well. And if you would like to claim this with me, I invite you to say with me, and
And so it is.